We will not be able to control it. It may be able to control us. That's kind of the doomsday scenario. Now, when you have policymakers like Senator Bernie Sanders publicly voicing these kinds of existential fears about artificial intelligence, it's a pretty clear signal that the stakes have fundamentally changed. Right? We're no longer just talking about AI writing bad poetry or churning out weird, deep-faked images. We're talking about highly capable systems that can interface directly with the physical world, and specifically, the biological world. That fear of losing control over these massive systems, that is exactly what's driving some of the most urgent, high-stakes research of our entire generation. So welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to look right past those doomsday headlines and actually unpack the brilliant, rigorous countermeasures that researchers are building right now to contain catastrophic AI misuse. We're going to focus heavily on the cutting-edge science of AI safety. Specifically, we'll look at how we build guardrails into an AI during its training phase, and then how we lock down its outputs during the inference phase. Here's our quick roadmap for today. Number 1, the AI misuse threat. Number 2, why traditional safeguards fail. Number 3, training time safety guardrails. Number 4, inference time security controls. And finally, number 5, building a safe AI future. Let's jump right into section 1, the AI misuse threat. We really need to establish exactly what this threat model looks like when highly capable AI agents converge with autonomous biological platforms. To truly grasp the risk here, we have to look at something researchers call intelligent automated biology. It's essentially a closed-loop system known as the DBTL cycle: design, build, test, and learn. In the design phase, you've got these advanced protein language models, PLMs, proposing novel biological sequences. Then, in the build phase, cloud laboratories and robotic biofoundries actually physically synthesize that DNA. Next is the test phase, where automated assays evaluate those proteins. And finally, the learn phase, where that real-world feedback gets beamed straight back to the AI so it can update its models. Now, what makes this so incredible for discovering new life-saving medicines is exactly what makes it so terrifying. It's a closed loop. It can iteratively optimize biological traits like, say, viral evasion with virtually zero human intervention. Why does this matter to you and me? Because it means a global biological threat could theoretically be engineered entirely in the cloud. And to put that into perspective, look at the sheer scale of this automation. When you compare traditional manual lab methods with this AI-enhanced automation, we're talking about going from maybe a fraction of a functional protein hit per day to literally thousands of hits per day. AI automation outpaces traditional lab methods by orders of magnitude. A malicious actor wouldn't even need a massive team of PhDs or years of wet lab experience anymore. They just need access to the right APIs. This incredible speed compresses development timelines so drastically that manual human oversight becomes physically impossible. Moving on to section 2, why traditional safeguards fail. This brings us to a really critical pivot point. Why are our old security checkpoints completely failing against these new, accelerated threats? Now, you might be thinking, wait, don't we have government regulations for this kind of stuff? Well, we do, but they just weren't built for AI. Take the U.S. policies on dual-use research of concern, or DURC. They apply to a very static list of exactly 15 specific agents. That is way too narrow for general-purpose AI that can dream up completely novel, unknown pathogens. On top of that, physical DNA screening at synthesis companies has some pretty alarming gaps. Just recently, in a red team experiment, researchers at MIT actually successfully ordered DNA fragments that could reconstruct the 1918 influenza virus, completely bypassing existing commercial screening protocols. Crazy, right? And perhaps the biggest hurdle of all is what's called the evaluation bottleneck. To figure out if a newly AI-generated protein is dangerous, we often have to physically synthesize it in a lab just to test it. Think about the massive paradox there. If it actually is a bioweapon, we've just literally created the very thing we were trying to prevent. So, because physical containment isn't enough, we absolutely have to secure the software itself. Researchers basically divide this AI defense into two distinct phases. On one side, we have training time guardrails. This is where we alter the model's learning process from the inside while it's still being built. On the other side, we have inference time guardrails. Think of this as acting like a bouncer at the door, aggressively filtering and steering the model's outputs right before they ever reach the user. Let's get into section 3, training time safety guardrails. We're going to dive deep into that first phase and see how we build brakes directly into the AI's brain before it finishes learning. The absolute foundational method here is called likelihood suppression. Look, when an AI model is training, it's essentially just learning the mathematical probability of what sequence of data should come next, right? Likelihood suppression goes in and modifies the model's core training objective. So if the model starts veering off and moving toward generating pathogenic or dangerous biological sequence, the algorithm mathematically penalizes it. Think of it as fundamentally rewiring the AI's core instincts. It basically forces the model to inherently assign a super low probability to harmful biological data, making it incredibly difficult for the AI to even think of a dangerous sequence in the first place. Then we have another major training technique, reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. In this setup, you have a separate reward model that acts like a highly sophisticated grading system. As the primary AI generates sequences during its training, this reward model steps in and evaluates them for potential harmfulness. If the output is safe, the AI gets a digital reward. If it's dangerous, it gets penalized. Through millions and millions of iterations, the AI is fine-tuned to automatically steer clear of the dangerous stuff. It aligns the AI's immense capabilities with human safety constraints right at the foundational level. But here's the catch. As models get smarter and faster, humans alone simply cannot keep up with all that grading. And that leads us to a really elegant concept called bootstrapping safety. Because we don't have the millions of human experts we'd need to monitor these advanced training runs, researchers are actually using older, highly aligned, trusted AI models to evaluate and audit the newer, more powerful systems in real time. It acts as an automated lie detector and safety auditor. This is huge because it allows us to scale our safety measures at the exact same pace that our AI capabilities are advancing. All right, Section 4, Inference Time Security Controls. Let's shift gears to Phase 2. These are the security checkpoints that trigger at the exact moment the AI attempts to interact with the user or the real world. Inference controls brilliantly complement those training controls we just talked about. On the training side, likelihood suppression sort of flattens the curve, mathematically lowering the chance of a pathogenic output ever being formed. But on the inference side, we rely on a guardrail called the embedding rejection radius. Before the AI ever shows an output to the user, the system plots that output into a vast mathematical space. If the new sequence lands inside a defined rejection radius, meaning mathematically it looks way too similar to known viral threats or toxins, the system physically blocks the output from being generated. It's essentially a hard perimeter fence, no exceptions. But beyond that rejection radius, securing inference requires a really robust, overlapping net of software restrictions. In this ecosystem, we have multi-layered oversight, where smaller AI models are constantly, silently monitoring the primary agent's API calls. We have API restrictions that throttle how fast new, unverified accounts can submit automated lab requests. For anything that crosses a high-risk threshold, human-in-the-loop policies kick in, meaning mandatory video calls or institutional verification. And crucially, we have kill switches. These are independent, hardware-level channels designed to instantly revoke tool access and completely halt operations if an AI agent suddenly goes rogue. Oh, and there's another fascinating inference technique called pre-generation constraint conditioning. Rather than waiting to see the final, fully formed output and then deciding whether to block it, this method actively steers the AI away from risky thought spaces during the generation process itself. By using control tokens or tweaking latent variables, the system essentially stops the AI mid-thought, preventing it from ever fully conceptualizing a dangerous bioweapon in the first place. Pretty incredible. Finally, Section 5, Building a Safe AI Future. We've looked at the microscopic details of training and inference. Now let's zoom out and see how these pieces form a global defense strategy. The big takeaway here is that securing evolvable AI is not just a software problem. It absolutely requires a multi-layered ecosystem defense. We have to enforce strict know-your-customer identity gating to keep bad actors out of these automated cloud labs. We must legally mandate those independent override channels and kill switches in agentic AI platforms. We have to upgrade our physical DNA synthesis screening so it is function-aware, meaning we use AI to detect what a sequence will actually do, not just whether it visually matches a list of known bad guys. And honestly, none of this works without massive global cooperation. Securing this technology is how we make sure the next big breakthrough in AI protects our everyday lives rather than threatening them. I know it's really easy to look at the capabilities of AI-driven biology and just feel an overwhelming sense of dread. But listen to what Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin recently noted about AI timelines. Acknowledging that making the world less vulnerable is actually possible and putting a lot more effort into using humanity's newest technologies to make it happen is one path worth trying. And that's the truth. The exact same AI that can design a pathogen can be explicitly trained, aligned, and constrained to design the cure, acting as the ultimate biological shield for humanity. Our defensive technologies, these guardrails we've been talking about, they are advancing just as rapidly as the threats.
I want to leave you with this final thought. We know how to build the brakes. We've got likelihood suppression, rejection radiuses, active oversight, and safety bootstrapping. The science of AI safety is making incredible leaps forward every single day. But the race between autonomous AI capabilities and human alignment is unequivocally the defining challenge of our generation. As evolvable AI accelerates and integrates deeper into our physical world, can our multi-layered guardrails adapt fast enough to contain the threat? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.